Right, year 13s, you have all been learning about soil moisture budgets and water budgets over this unit. And I'm out here in the school grounds because I want to show you how it looks like in the real world. You can see behind me that the river today has been busy at school. It's rained a fair bit amount, and the water has been evacuated through this section of the school, out from school grounds, down Redland Hill. And actually the big problem with these storms is that each storm brings a huge amount of moisture, which as a natural process is useful. Over the month of September, it was incredibly warm, incredibly dry. And that means there was a high level of evaporation, and the moisture was actually released from the ground, and the ground basically went not into deficit, but started to lose more moisture than it could absorb. Therefore, after a hot summer, was a kind of in a deficit phase. So actually, the first storm of the academic year, Storm Agnes, allowed to recharge the water storage of the ground and the soil moisture. And once it was recharged, well, it reached a certain limit. And when Storm Babette hit about 3 weeks ago, it caused huge amount of flooding in Scotland, huge amount of flooding in the north of England, and all that was due to the fact that the water was already the water and the ground was already quite full of water. It could infiltrate much more and led to flooding. And now we're at a stage where we've got a third storm of the year. To give you an idea, 3 years ago, the Met Office only named 3 storms. Last year, it only named 6, and it's every year the alphabet starts again on the 1st of September. We're now 1st of November, and we're already on storm number 3. So it's likely that this year is going to be the year where we see most storms ever named by the Met Office. And the problem with this is that although this storm Kieran brought less moisture onto the UK, you can see it behind me here. Just down there, all this ground here is completely, utterly saturated. It's all wet down there. It's because when I walk down here, all this is squishing under my feet. It is basically, the ground is saturated. The ground cannot absorb more moisture, and if the water can't infiltrate, it can't percolate down. It can't get evacuated through groundwater flow. It has to stay on the surface, and if it stays into the surface, it goes through on the process called surface runoff. The surface runoff is a kind of process that leads to flash floods. As the water gets evacuated over the surface, because it can't go down, it runs down the river sides, it runs down the valley sides, and it leads to huge volumes of flooding. And that is the biggest problem we're currently having with the storm. This Storm Kieran, is emitting less rain, but because the ground is saturated, it's actually going towards the surplus, and it can't deal with that extra moisture, and it has to make it rush on the surface through surface runoff. So we're going to see an increasing level of flooding, despite the fact it might feel like it hasn't rained quite as much.